Guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being the music journalism site. Links are in the description down below. We have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest track by Stargate featuring Pink and Sia as well. It's a big collaboration. It's a long list of artists on this, and that's Waterfall. So I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. So as you may or may not know, depending on how much you might follow the site or the YouTube channel, I haven't been the biggest fan of Sia's work over the last few years, especially over the last 2 years or so. She just seems to re-release the same song over and over without ever really varying it up. However, now she's working alongside a very capable vocalist in Pink and the production team of Stargate, so let's hope her fortunes turn themselves around with this attempt. Well, unfortunately, this is just another completely bland track by the artist, and it couldn't be saved even by all those features. It's more of your dancehall beat influence or inspired, empowering crap which you just can't seem to step away from at the moment. I thought Pink sounded actually quite good on this track in her brief, recognisable sequences, but then Sia would crash in with her awful vocal technique like somebody scratching a chalkboard. It just seems so unnecessary to me. It's irritating, to be honest with you, because I know Sia has an unreal voice in there, and we've heard it all before when she used to showcase it ever so eloquently on prior tracks like Breathe Me. I know that's just an easy one to come back to, but it's a good example. But now she just seems to shout and scream her way through every single track, and it's honestly boring now to try and put up with it. The track is predictable, it's bland, it's uninspired again, and it sounds incredibly cheap to me, so it's very disappointing. When it comes to the production of this track, when you consider the experience and the reputation of everyone involved in the process of making this track, you kind of expect much more really. The beat is lifeless and vapid, sounding like a couple of tin pans and someone popping bubble wrap, so the percussion was barely even there. The synths are completely dull with no interesting or recognisable timbres or tones being used throughout the entire runtime. There isn't anything organic here, as everything sounds tampered with and overtly manipulated, and it's not a terrible mix per se, it's just completely forgettable really. It really needed a cutting instrument to throw itself in just every now and then, perhaps especially on that second verse, just to break up this very slow and ploddy beat. And it seemed like they tried to do that very thing with Sia's voice, making her sound as if she's practically screaming just so you have that cutting edge. That was a really poor decision really to make. The vocals aren't horribly mixed, in fact they are fairly decent here, since the auto-tune and the manipulation is pretty much kept at a minimum. It's your usual sort of pop mix, but they aren't raw or natural enough for me to really find them that moving or emotive. But I think that is largely down to the performances and just the bare musicality of it rather than the actual production side of things. So it all sounds very plastic and very cheap, so it's not really up my alley at all, but it's not terrible. Musicality wise, the song is just a dime a dozen. Take a regular reggae beat, program that into the background just so it doesn't ever get involved with any of the rest of the instrumentation. Add the odd piano chord just to keep the track grounded every now and then. Use a boring and forgettable sub-bass routine and repeat it throughout the entire track. Throw in some melodies that ignore dynamics completely, sounding flurried and in your face constantly as if they're always shouting at you. Repeat the verse 3 times, but on the third make sure the instrumentation is a tad thinner, just so it's a little bit quieter and it sounds a bit different to the rest. Repeat the chorus 3 times, and on that last repetition just double it, because that's always a fun way of varying things up despite everybody else doing it on the face of the planet. Make sure the hook isn't longer than just one word. I think one word's usually fine. And Bob's Your Uncle, you've got a 2017 pop song right there. Like I said, Pink sounds fairly decent here, and I think it was a strange collaboration really, putting 2 female power singers into one dancehall-like track. It seemed very unbalanced, and it just lacked that dynamic complexity to make the track feel as if it at all progresses or develops. It's very ploddy and it's kind of unimaginative, lacking any unique or individualized elements that would make it at all memorable for me. It's difficult to cite here anything I actually like, but it's not terrible, it's functional, and it's just bland. Lyrically, the song is just more of your yawn-inducing Tumblr rubbish with no clever wordplay, no intelligent rhyme schemes, no memorable metaphors, and no individualized thematic moments. It's not bad, it's just incredibly plain again. So all in all, I can't say I recommend this track at all. You've probably heard it 1,000 times already anyway, just in different keys by now. And Sia's remade this song like 50 times anyway at this point. So yeah, I gave it a G rating of 3 out of 10, which sounds quite low for everything I said. I know I've been negative, I said everything's functional, but it's so plain and dull and lacking anything unique about it that I just don't see what the point in listening to this track would be. So if you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye bye.